Welcome back to IAEE TV, sponsored by TMS and produced by CNTV. I'm Amy Sweezy, and joining me now is Kathy Lovato. Kathy is with the American Physiological Society, APS. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So Kathy, first of all, what do you do?
I am the Director of Scientific Meetings and Programming, which means I produce all of our in-person content as well as the trade show that goes along with it.
Okay, and who attends your trade show, the APS Summit, right?
Right, the summit. So it is made up of physiologists, so PhD basic researchers are our audience, 3,100 attendees representing scientists from 40 countries.
Okay, so give us a little bit of advice, right? How do you structure, when you're doing so many scientific sessions, but you also have an exhibit hall to oversee? How do you structure that so it all works together?
We have about a 2-year out planning process where we meet with our lead scientists on our programming committee to target topics that are up and coming and are relevant to the work that our scientists are doing now. And so then we kind of back up from there and design an 80-session program that complements the themes that we see as being valuable or coming up down the pike. So for example, we were talking about GLP-1s way before anybody else was. Our scientists were doing some of the mRNA research that was going into the COVID vaccine 20 years before we even needed that technology. So I always like to say physiology has touched everything in science. You might not know the physiologists, but they're doing all the work behind the scenes to develop the cures and therapies that we rely on now.
And it's so interesting you say that, because the first thing I thought of when you said we plan these 2 years in advance, I'm like, how can you do that? Because everything is changing so quickly.
Right. We do leave some slots in the program knowing we're going to want to throw in last minute hot topics, if you will. So for example, this year we're putting in a session on AI and sort of how you could build a human body digitally out of AI technology. And so that's something we kind of saved a spot for, but we're not sourcing the speakers for that until about 3 months out.
Kathy, I know that you do some unique things at your show in order to try to make sure that everyone is meshed together. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So one of our unique exhibit propositions is we match all exhibitors with the attendees prior to show site. So they provide us with keywords for the types of scientists they're looking for or the types of research that they are tied to. And we provide them with a matchmaker report so they can reach out to those scientists prior to the show. Then once on show site, we feature them in our tech theaters, and we have 12 of those on the show floor throughout the meeting where those scientists are then invited to come participate in the session. So it's not an infomercial where they just get up and talk about their product. They're really talking about how that product relates to the current research or the research that they're hoping to do, but they're looking for scientists to help them on that next phase. So it's networking, it's mentorship, it's sort of career collaboration, all rolled into the show floor. So the exhibitors are very much a part of the scientific program at APS.
And is it well received? Do you feel like that's what everybody loves and wants?
Yes, they are well attended. They sell out every year, standing room only. We get very high marks for it on our exhibit survey every year.
Is it difficult to find your speakers?
No, you'd be surprised. Scientists, I think, get a rep for being shy, but they love to talk about their work. So if you ask for a call for proposals, you'll get more proposals than you need.
I know you're very involved with the Greater Midwest chapter. Tell me about the chapter involvement, how important that is.
I mean, it was instrumental in my career. I have met some friends, not just industry friends, but friends for life through that chapter. A lot of the vendors that I tapped for our inaugural meeting that I mentioned earlier, we launched in 2023. A lot of those vendors that I met through the chapter are now partners on my show. So I can't say enough positive things about my chapter experience.
I know you talked a little bit about the the integrations, the matchmaking things that you do, but also I know you mentioned earlier something about the tech theaters.
Yep.
How does that work?
So our elite partners in our program, they can apply for one of the 12 slots, and really the criteria is it needs to be a topic that hasn't been covered the year prior. So if most companies, if they came the year before, they're not going to do back-to-back talks because there's just not enough innovation in 1 year to have anything new. They could, but for the most part, we ask that they come up with new programming every year. So that way it's always fresh and it keeps our attendees coming back because it's not the same old that they heard the year before.
And that's kind of a sponsorship thing.
Correct.
Got it. Anything else that you would like to add about what you do at APS, the summit, that would help others?
I think I would encourage other organizers to just take a look at the content and ask yourself, is it time to refresh? Is this what our attendees really want? Or are we just doing it because it's what we've done every year and it seems to be working? I know we had a lot of pushback when we remodeled our meeting and went to that 80 session format. People were worried that things were going to get cut out or left out that were important. And it took a couple of years to get the buy-in, but I think our attendees are now really appreciative of the fact that we have the cross-disciplinary sessions and that we're bringing scientists from outside the physiology community into the program, so they're learning about things that they might not come across in their day-to-day work. So I think I would encourage event organizers just to look at the program and ask yourself if there are opportunities to find new ways to educate your attendees.
What are you most excited about as we move into the future?
Oh my gosh, AI, I'm really excited about that, not just from a personal standpoint of how can it make my job easier, but I want to know how can we use it to further partner those exhibitors with the attendees, and attendee to attendee as well. As I mentioned earlier, mentoring and networking, it's critical in the sciences, and so how could we use that to maybe match make attendees before they get on site? So I'm really excited about what we might be able to figure out in the future with AI.
All right, Kathy Lovato with APS, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, appreciate it.
We appreciate your time. I'm Amy Sweezy with IAEE TV, and we are sponsored by TMS and produced by CNTV. Thanks for watching.